So you have a record collection out here.
Yes. I started collecting records in college. Actually, first album I collected was a Kingston Trio album, and started collecting in college. I had a few minor 45s, but when we were going to school, grade school and high school, Warren had a reel-to-reel Voice of Music tape recorder. So we'd actually tape music off of the radio, and that's how we got our music. But then as I got, Warren went one way and I went the other. I was in college. And so I got myself a little record player and bought a few records. And actually I was living in a boarding house my first year in college. And that's where they have community bathrooms at the end of the hall, except for a few rooms, which my dad got me a room with my own bathroom. And I'd leave the door open, I'd play records, and then I'd have these ladies come and visit my room. But anyway, so I started collecting in college, and in those days, albums were $1.27 for an expensive new album, and the 45s were what? I think they were a quarter, weren't they? Or 50 cents. But anyway, I never really enjoyed 45s that much. I always collected albums because I liked the art, I liked the liner notes, and you get more songs for your buck. So that's why I started collecting in college and worked my way through. After Sue and I started dating and got married, she realized I collected records, and people started learning I collected records. So they'd either give me collections, or when Sue would go to a garage sale, she'd see a record, she'd call me and ask me if I wanted that title. So I had as many as 12,000 records at one time. I promised Sue, though, after I retired, I'd cut the collection down. So now it's down to 4,700 records, and they all fit in some oak shelves we have in the back room. But I've always collected records. I like the idea of looking them up. I have them on a database. I have them priced. So when I kick the bucket and the kids want to sell the collection, they know exactly what it's worth. But I also like helping people get rid of their records or know what to do with their records. Sometimes I'll get called, and I do this as a service. They'll call and say, we just inherited my mom's collection. She passed away, and we want to get rid of the records. What do we do with them? And I don't necessarily want to buy their collections. I want to try to help them determine what to do with them. If they're valuable, should you sell them, and where to sell them? If they're not valuable and they should be used for skeet shooting targets, I tell them that. So that's helpful. And it started one night when Sue and I got a call she was working for a Dr. Richard Cerrone, a pediatrician. And he called and said, hey, we're going to have a garage sale Saturday. Can you and Alan come over and help us price stuff? His wife was not feeling too great at the time. And we said, okay. We went over Friday night, and we're going through the garage, picking stuff to price and put out and all that. And I see this box of records, and he has a sign on it. A banker's box of records holds about 75 records, a box like that, of LPs. And he had a banker's box, and it had about 75 or 80 records in it. And he said, had a sign on it that said 25 cents a piece or $5 for the box. And I said, Richard, you don't want to do that. And he says, why? He said, well, you could have some valuable stuff. He said, no, it's nothing there. Sue, my wife, said to him, Richard, let Alan take them home and price them. You can always sell them later. Let them price the records for you, their value, their true value by condition. And so I took them home. He had $1,900 worth of records in that box. And I said to myself at that time, I need to help people not throw away their valuable stuff. So that's how I got to the point of helping people with their vinyl records and deciding what to do with them. I mean, because there's some records out there like the Cane Mutiny soundtrack. There was only like 5 or 6 produced before they pulled that record. That's in the $15,000 to $40,000 range, depending on condition. Well, you wouldn't want your grandma tossing that out because she's tired of her collection.
That's crazy.
And the thing is now, the records are going down in price because baby boomers are dying off. They're the ones who had vinyl records in their lifetime. And so now it's all iTunes music or e-music or digital music. So the market's soft now on records. So you have to really be careful of what you sell and when you sell it and how to sell it. And what do you really decide? If you got a $25 record, are you going to go to spend 3 weeks trying to sell it on eBay, or are you going to toss it? So it's all about condition and rarity, what makes the record valuable.
Any other advice do you have for selling off your records?
Yeah, I think the main thing is eBay has killed the collectible market. People think that, okay, let's go on eBay and sell it. Well, they can sell their stuff on eBay, but let's say a record is worth $10,000. But mom and dad go on eBay, and the auction is going to only bring 200 or 500. So now your collections are now being devalued by eBay or these on-sale auctions. So the best way to sell records if they want to is there's a couple of websites. One's called GEMM. The other one's called Music Stack. And they're record buying and selling databases or online stores. And they also can show you what the record's selling for in today's market, the high and the low, as well as you could buy the record there, but you can also go to the website and just look it up. There's also a website called PopPsych, and it shows in the recent years the most that record has sold for at auction. So if you have a Beatles Butcher Cover Stage 1 album and you want to see what it sold for, you can go to PopPsych, look it up, and it'll show the highs and the lows, but it'll also show the average of what that album sells for in mint condition. But it's all about condition and rarity. I mean, I have people call me up and say, hey, I've got my grandma's records and she's got a Bing Crosby. It's real old, must be worth money. I said, no, Bing Crosby produced a lot of records. So everybody and their brother's got a Bing Crosby album in their closet. So it's all about rarity, like the Bob Dylan Freewheelin' album. When they released that, they pulled it back almost right away and re-released it with 4 different cuts. So if you can get the first version of the Freewheelin' album, that's in the $20,000 to $30,000 range. But you got to know what you're looking for, know what songs you're looking for. So the main thing is, as much as eBay has killed the market, you go on eBay, you go on Gem, you go on Music Stack, and you see what they're selling for and go from there. But the trouble is most people think their records are in better condition than they really are. They say, oh, look, it's not played too much and there's only a couple of scratches, or they don't see the scratches or the pops, and they think they're in grade good or near mint, and they're actually, fair or poor or just good. So it's all about rating the records and the condition. But, you can go online. Go online and learn. But you're not going to get the money that we used to get in the old days. 20 years ago, the record market was pretty strong. Now it's with eBay, it's just killed it. It's not only killed records, it's killed all collectible hobbies, gun collecting or teacup collecting, because the people just want to get rid of their stuff as quickly as possible and make some money off of it. So they're not going to get collector values on them. So anyway, pricing guides, I have about 145 pricing guides on records, so I can pretty much tell anybody what their record's worth.
Wow. So what's one of the gems that you've run across, the surprises?
Actually, a lot of early folk rock stuff. There's some, on soundtracks, you might have the musical Showboat, and there might be 30 versions of that record, and the first couple, two or three, or maybe they're a Broadway show version or a movie version, but the first ones might be worth a lot of money, and then the later re-releases aren't worth a lot of money. But it's all about, again, rarity and how few they produced, not how many, how few they produced, and the condition of your record that you have it. So, but yeah, you get surprises sometimes, and sometimes you go through a collection and it looks like it was done on a cheap label, and it was done with studio artists, and you think it's going to be worth nothing. You look it up and find out it's a $700 record because they only produced 20 or 30 of them, and somebody wants that. There's been a cult following for that album. So the fun part is looking through people's collections. Just like when I went through your collection, it's fun to go through and see what people have and tell them what they have and give them an idea. We came to a conclusion on your collection of where it was and the value of it and the rarity of it, and that's the fun part, is helping people determine what they've got and what to do with it. On records, the mistake most people make nowadays is they think they can recycle them, and in most counties and cities, you can recycle the paper cover, but the vinyl has to go in trash. So if they're going to decide they don't want to sell them or don't want people to look at them, they're just going to get rid of them, they have to check with their local community to find out from the garbage company how they'll take them. Because some people throw them and they throw them all in recycle, and they find out the garbage company doesn't take them. So you've got to make sure you toss them correctly. So anyway.
I always like the albums just because of the art.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And there's some famous artists that have done album covers that have made the record's not worth anything, but the album cover's worth thousands. So it's that's what's beautiful about CDs are nice. They have the little booklet in them, but now iTunes you don't get hardly any art with that or any liner notes. So the albums are kind of fun to me to read the.
Who can read a CD cover?
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least they have. At least with CDs, you've got a little pamphlet in there to give you something, the playlist and some stories. And it's tiny, but iTunes when you download from iTunes, you're just getting the music. And then how do you catalog that? You're cataloging on a computer, but if you go to sell that, how do you go ahead and sell a song you did from iTunes? Well, Apple won't let you sell that, because you bought it. So they have copyrights on it. They're hooked into your computer, knowing what you've got and where you've traded it and how many times you've reprinted it. You get the little dialogue box that says you've now copied this song 6 times. You have one more copying you can do before you can't copy it anymore. So, electronics kind of like Big Brother's watching when you do that. If I buy your record, I can do whatever I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.